everybody, welcome to Oldham. It's fleeing. I'm in a place in Oldham that I've never been to in my entire life, everybody. I have never been to the top of the Spindles car park until today. For some reason I thought this would, well, for not any reason, well, for a reason, which I'm going to go into very shortly. This is the perfect place to start our video today. Because actually we're on the site of what used to be St. Peter's church and graveyard. But before we launch into it, Jesus Christ, all my hair's getting wet. I'm going to look a right mess by the time we're done here. But I had to show you this view, everyone. It's fleeing, it's so cold. So there's the Catholic church. I think it's called St. Michael's Carmel. Oh God, what's it called? Why can't I remember? Right in the far distance there, everybody, you can see Manchester, you can see the skyscrapers. That's St Thomas's on Werneth. Down there is the school on Coppice. That was Sir William Radcliffe, I think he was called. Famous Oldham composer. That's where he was educated. Jesus, it's called the Civic Centre. Phoenix House, tax office. Apparently that's due to be demolished soon, everybody. Which brings us on nicely to the topic of our video today. I wonder if these doors are open. Let's just check before we go. I like the fact that we've got the Union Jack there floating. These doors should be open. Oh, look at this, everybody. Did you hear that? Wow, look at this. Hello? Wow, this is freaking. Let's have a look out this window. I think this opens. I'm not going to open it because I'm frightened in case it flies off. Anyway, everybody, let's get back up the top because it's... Look at the drop down here. Look at that. I love that sound. Isn't it fabulous? Right, let's get back outside because we need to start today's video. So, we're on the ground of St. Peter's churchyard and graveyard. Now the church, the original church, I believe was erected around about 1765, and it's quite unusual because there's two churches in Oldham. There was the parish church, which was, the main one was built, or the one that we're looking at today, that one was built in 1825 to 27, I think, off memory. I weren't around to see it, I mean, from what I've read. But St. Peter's was there long before, and it was an active graveyard. Now, over years, Oldham's undergone major changes in terms of its stature in the country, in the world, the types of people that live here. You know, we've got people from all over the world that live in Oldham. Well, third and fourth and fifth generation now, but, you know, at one point, people came from all over the world to live in Oldham because of the employment opportunities. And people have set up life here, and did you hear that? It's pretty spooky up here, everybody. What the hell's that over there? Is that the top of the library? Anyway, everybody. Oh, this is the door keeps opening and closing. Can we call the lift? Oh, we can. spooky up here, everyone. I'm not going in there. Oh, there's the Oldham church. Oh, it's fabulous up here, everybody. So, St Peter's Church. So it would have been here, on this ground. And in the distance, you would have been able to see Oldham Church. In fact, the street that it was on was St Peter's Street, which I don't believe exists now. I think it's where TJU's used to be. Happy to be put corrected on any of these facts. I weren't alive during these times. But listen. So we're going to listen to 3 specific Oldhamers from the past, everybody. One of them is a shop owner called Danny. He had a shop called Danny's in Oldham. If you're a certain age, you might remember it. Had a yellow front and it was a gentleman's outfitters. They used to sell all, like, you know, working class clothing, blue collar clothing, we'll call it. Weren't like suits and stuff, I don't think. There's an housewife on there, and there's also Nellie Cartwright that I think I'm going to be featuring, because Nellie's got a lot to say. And if you know Joan Cartwright, everybody, then that's her mother-in-law. Wonderful woman, this Nellie Cartwright. I think she ended up on Littlemore, you know, and I think that's where she's talking from in her house. This view's spectacular. I bet on a lovely, warm day, it's fabulous up here. It's spooky up here. I'm literally by myself. Look, everyone. Jesus. Anyway, let's get away from this edge. So in the 1968, or in the late 1960s, there was a push for redevelopment of Oldham. Basically, this fella came from London and he decided that it was a dump. Essentially, it was the clearing of the slums, that's what it was called. And I did another video on St Mary's. Probably really need to do it again. But there was a video, let's just stand in here, because honest to God, everyone, I'm frigging fleeing. Oh, that's better. So cold. Right, everybody, so I've just been kicked off the top layer. They said it's for contractors only. No signs, and obviously, I'm not bothered, because I've got the filming that I wanted. But we're going to go for a walk round anyway. I'm just eating with a banana. So yeah, let's talk about St Peter's and let's talk about what happened. So as I was saying, this fella came up from London and he started saying, right, this is a hovel, we need to clear it. So a series of compulsory purchases started around the Oldham area. Businesses, homes. Some people were happy about it, like Nellie. Other people weren't. Other people were fuming because they'd worked hard all their lives and they built these beautiful homes and they were lovely. They were clean. Alright, they were a bit old. But you know, you have to ask yourself the question, what if the government had given grants, specifically home improvement grants? You know, like, we'll street your house out, we'll block up all the crevices, clear it all out, stop all the insects from invading, etc, etc. But they didn't. What they decided to do was do a compulsory purchase on people's homes and kicked them out. In fact, I think what we'll do now is, I think we'll have a listen to Mrs. Thingamajig, whose name escapes me at the moment, but let's have a listen to what she says about having her house compulsory purchased.
Well, I don't think it's right at all. I think we should be able to choose, have the right to choose what we want to do with our own property. And no one, until all this started, no one was interested at all in us or in the house. We bought it. We started from scratch. We spent years on it, built it up. at all the wages, spur money, anything at all that we had into it. He's given years of labour, and I've given years of my time to living in it and building it up to what it is now. And it can be even better now as time goes on, because our family have grown up. Most of the struggle's over with them. We're bringing them up. But to the kiddies, it's home, and to me, it's home. And you don't like pulling your roots up as you get older. People don't understand this, but it's true. You don't have to be old. And you've got to live in a house to make it live. And then you love that house. You put your heart and your soul, everything you've got into it. And suddenly someone just comes along and says, I want it, it's yours, it's mine. You'll have to get out and find somewhere else to go. And it's not fair at all.
Right, everybody, so as you've heard, compulsory purchases were made. Now, we had a problem with St Peter's because they had a church which, alright, they can do a compulsory purchase on the church, but what do we do about the graveyard? Do we take all the stones off, as they've done with so many churches around Oldham? And do they? Or do they dig them up? So the choice was made, and I don't know what public consultation went on about this, but from what you've heard...
Oh yes, I went. Everybody was absolutely buffaloed. There was no chance, really. It was an absolute fix, without any doubt. If it had been a court of law, they'd have got 5 years each, lot of them. You know, they were that bad. They were that much of a fix. It was hopeless.
Did you try to say anything?
Yes, it was sit down, and then, like, when your turn came to speak, and if you spoke out of order, they broke up the meeting. Do you understand? If they broke up the meeting, what you'd said wasn't put down, so you had to wait, even though you were going furious. Do you understand? And then you got up in a weak voice, and you said, like, just so many words put down, but you've got your little words in. You knew they didn't mean anything. And because there was a square-headed bloke one side, and, like, 1984 in front of you, people without any heart.
From what you've heard off the shopkeeper, public consultation was stifled somewhat, and I've heard that quite a few times, to be perfectly honest. But essentially what happened was they decided they were going to dig up the bodies. Now, a decision was made that they was going to dig up the bodies. I want you to think about something, everybody, when I tell you about this next bit. Imagine how you'd feel if your granny or granddad or whatever that you buried 20 or 30 years ago, let's assume now that they put a compulsory purchase on their grave and dug them up, and they got the bones and they moved them and they put them all in a shared grave. We're actually going to go to the shared grave of all these people today, by the way. We're going to go up to Greenwich Cemetery, which is where I believe they were all reinterred. And when I say reinterred, I don't mean ceremony, I mean slung in a ditch and filled with mud. That's what I mean, because that's exactly what would have happened. Maybe a priest said something, I don't know, but that's pretty much it. So what happened was all the tarpaulin was erected and they started removing the bodies. Some of the bodies that they removed was apparently in lead coffins, which wasn't unusual for the time. If you look back at the Oldham church video that I did, you'll see that lead coffins was commonplace, and that's what people were buried in. But rumour has it that there was a coffin brought up. Some people say it was a woman and some people say it was a man. But essentially they opened up this coffin, or perhaps it fell in, I don't know. And apparently the person inside was perfectly preserved, but as soon as the air hit them, they disintegrated, the body disintegrated, turned grey, and they all faded away. But that person would have been an Oldamer, would have contributed to the building of the town and the maintenance of the town, and then they just dig them up and throw them in a shared grave. Now apparently, we're going to move back round now to the front of where St Peter's would have been. Apparently, There was a lot of looting that went on also. And the people that were working on the graves were finding bits of jewellery in various grave plots and in coffins and other bits and pieces. And apparently there was fellas going round the pubs in Oldham and selling the pieces of jewellery to whoever would buy them. I don't know if I believe that, to be perfectly honest, because I think the majority of people in those days were skint. Why would you bury someone in gold? Wedding rings, perhaps, yeah, I don't know. But that's the story. It's starting to rain, everybody. See this building here? I always wanted to know what that building was. There's one in Barnsley, you know. It's the Burton building. Burton Taylors. There's also another one in, is it Wunwell? Yeah, Wunwell. Anyhow, so yeah, the bodies were dug up. And there was a mass reburial in L13 in, what's it called? In Grenica Cemetery. So what we're going to do now, we're going to walk back through, we're going to jump in the car, we're going to go up to Grinica's and we're going to see if we can find any form of marker that shows where these people have been reinterred. So let's go. Whenever I'm away from you. Fancy my butty now, everybody. Six is what I want. Oh, everyone, look. We're going to get a look at... Oh, well, maybe we can't. I don't know. Maybe we can. Oh, look. Look, everyone. Oh, there's an old staircase going up. Can you see that? Straight ahead. It's like... old things on the wall, on the floor. God knows what's in them. You'll never get in because it's bad. Bars. Isn't that fabulous, that? I want to go up that staircase. Right, let's get into the graveyard. this way we need to go, everybody. Oh, turn the friggin' indicator on now. So I have family that are buried down here. My great grandmother and great grandfather are buried just over here. Annie and James Ravey. These pigeons, wood pigeons, they're funny. Yeah, so it should be around this area. What we're going to do, I'm going to get my cloak on. My wrap. We'll park down here, I'll get my wrap and we'll have a walk up and see what we can find. But we're looking for a mass grave, aren't we? That's essentially what we're after here. Right everyone, we're at the bottom end in Gridicker's and I've just seen this grave here and I want to know who Joshua Bakewell was. He was a dear husband and father. He died on September the 17th, 1945 and he was only 34. He was married to Mary Alice. She's in there. She died in 1947. He can't have been 34 then, can he? Oh, he was 74. Idiot. Joshua Bakewell, he was 74 and he died September 17th, 1945. Mary Alice, also Mary, the beloved wife of Frank Bakewell and daughter-in-law of the above. She was only 82. I don't know what's up with me. I don't seem to be able to see 8s today. Anyway, everybody, we're not going to focus too much on some of these graves because these are relatively new. I would like to tell you, and if you look back on one of my videos, I think I called it the ghost of oh god, what's the theatre called in Oldham? Jesus Christ, I can't think what it's called. Oldham, you know, the Coliseum. The guy who haunts it is buried down here, or one of the ghosts. His body's down here. He was an actor. He ended up being a manager of the place for many, many, many years. And yeah, so my family are buried down this end. I think it's probably more up this end here. But we're on the lookout for the mass grave of St. Peter's. So it's in L13, and I think L13, you know, I'm looking at those trees, everyone, and I'm thinking, is it there? You know, sometimes when I'm out filming and I'm talking, people look at me as if I'm tapped. I just don't look at folks. I just think, I don't want you to put me off my stride. But I do think, I wonder what they actually think, you know. What should happen here is there should be some sort of memorial. That's what should happen. Nothing obvious is, you know, you'd expect it to be quite significant, you know, considering the fact that it's probably got thousands of bones in there. Well, not probably, it will have thousands of bones, and it's got thousands of people in there. There was thousands of people buried in there. People were buried in St. Peter's from 1765, everybody. And the last interment was 1873 from memory. So we're talking way over 100 years. It's first to say, I've been doing the research on the burial records, and in the early 1700s there wasn't that many people buried. You know, like there might have been 2 or 3 burials. And I noticed something really odd. Burials took place on Sundays. A lot of them in St. Peter's. There must be an L13 by now. We need to find a grave marker to tell us where we're at. I'm just so cold, everybody. This might have to be postponed. We're in K12 L, so it's this way, innit? L13. Yeah, what was I saying? They probably just put them in an unmarked grave. But when they did a similar thing in Ashton-under-Lyne, they put a memorial plaque up saying this is where the bodies were interred, and they should have done the same. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't have done the same. It's not much to ask, is it? Considering the actual headstones of these people at St Peter's, you know what they did with them? They crushed them up and they utilised them to form the basis of the M62. As a lot of things did back then. But that's where all these grave markers are. They're underneath the M62. So you would have thought that they would have been at least decent enough to like just give them one. This is L12. JKL. Right, we're up here. I think it's this way. This must be L13 over here. Let's have a look, everybody. Oh, I'm so cold. Can't believe it. I can't believe how bloody horrible it is today, the weather. Got something engraved outside of that stone there, look. M10. Let's have a look up here. Oh, God, oh, no. Oh, a dead bird, look. Oh, God. That's awful. Don't like things like that, me. God, it made me feel poorly, that. Maybe that is right. I'm thinking it's this side where actually it's down here. Oh God, that bird made me poorly then. Oh God, I can see it there. You know what? My heart can't take it at this age. It's not on. Right, if this is L13, I'll brave the cold. If it's not, then we're saving it for another day, everybody. It says here, remember the dead, fight for the living. Bench donated by Oldham Trades Union Council, an Oldham NBC Labour group in memory of those workers killed in accidents or throughout illness caused by work. Workers' Memorial Day, April 28th, 2004. I'm going to call it, everyone, and I'm going to say, potentially, this green area down here could be the mass burial plot. This is L12. Is this L13 down here then? Let's have a look down here. If this is L14, but it won't be, this will be M11. It's there, everyone. Hi everybody, I'm back home, I'm editing. It's so cold today, honestly. Right, the reason why I'm doing this little bit in is because I called it that area that I mentioned, that was L13, but it wasn't. L13, when I said, oh, it's back that way, well, L13 was further on. And if I'd have just bothered to look at my map, I would have seen that. But in my defence, I was freezing. I'd been on the top of that bleeding building. I'd walked around Oldham with fleeing, and I'd just had enough. Well, I thought I'd found it. But listen, that's not going to be the end of it, everyone. We'll revisit Grinnikers. We'll go and see if we can find this mass grave. I've got a feeling that there isn't a marker. And if there isn't a marker, I've decided I'm going to lobby for one. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a marker for those people for St. Peter's. I can't leave it alone. Hopefully we find one. Hopefully we find a marker and everything's beautiful. But if there isn't a marker, then I'm going to get one. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the council to get one. I am. I'm not having it. So I want to show you this final grave. It's beautiful. And then we're going to finish with the last few words from Danny, the shopkeeper. I think he's ace. Listen to what he says at the end. And I'm not laughing at it. I'm laughing there. It's because I can imagine, right? If he was down pub having a pint, you know, it'd be a laugh a minute. You just got that thing about him. So we'll leave the last words up to Danny, but I want you to look at this grave if you wouldn't mind. We'll have a look, see if I can find any information on who he is. We should be able to find something on him. You'll see why I'm saying something in a minute. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you in the next video. Hang on. It's not that. I've just seen a really interesting stone. Look at this. That is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. This is really interesting. This is John Lawton. Born in 1918 and he died in 1938. The man is holding like a paint palette. I mean, it's very, very, very artistic, that. He's kneeling on books. And there's a crest. What does that mean? That looks like wings. But this is gorgeous. I'd love a grave ribbon of that.
When I first came to this town, I knew it was a wreck. But I knew I liked the people tremendously. I knew the sort of people they were, because I'm a Lancashire lad. And I thought, right, cock, I know what they've done, but I'm coming in and I'll be bringing in the stuff, whatever they do. And after they've stopped it, I'll still be bringing in the stuff if I can. If they come to get me, they can get me right here. That's the only way to get me. And I'm willing to rebuild and do all, put my money, but you can see all my money's here. Stop. Do you follow me? It's not in daft houses and all the rest of it. Do you understand? That's where my money is there. Right?
Do you think it's fair that someone should be able to tell you that you've got to leave your shop, that you've got to find other premises?
Well, if they do that, where's the world going to be? If they tell you, well, what do you want me to go and work in a factory and put a screw in here for them? Do you understand? While they're sat at their offices making another £1 million blunders, which I as a businessman know about, which if I did, I'd be broke. And if I took anything off anybody and told anybody a compulsory order, where would I'd be in jail, wouldn't I? If I took your tie off you, where would I be? I mean, it's the end of civilization, isn't it?